Never on lumber. Yeah, the cheese on my bumper. It ain't the girl right there, little boy right here. We call it the Sanda. Bad scooping now. My feet do fully I like bumper. Yeah, they see me, they snooze it. I keep getting high. I call that slumber. Yeah, we on breathe, keep the dream alive. Get it till it die. Wanna live my life. Shiny right by. Never switch sides. We low keep trying to ride.
Welcome back to Half a Corner Couch, Season 2. Built on ghosts and dreams. This is the love letter to the performer and the pioneers. Today, we're going to be chatting to performers and their roles. We're going to be chatting to the actors as well as their characters. With me today is the rose among the thorns, savage beauty, Kasibili, Rosemary Zimu.
That's me. Hi.
Sitting on my far right is a man walina laseTswana. Kodwa ukhuluma isiZulu.
Yebo.
Ushaka.
Yebo.
Lemogang Tsipa.
Sanibonani.
And last, but definitely not least, it's the multi-talented Bongani Ndyalvane. Welcome, guys.
Boom, 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 boom.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
So I introduced you in a manner and a way that we, as audiences that watch you on our screen, see you. But I want to take this opportunity for you to introduce yourselves and tell us exactly how you want us to know you as the lovers of your craft. I'm going to start with Lemu.
Hi, my name is Lemogang Tsipa, and I'm not an alcoholic.
Hi, Lemu.
No, I don't know. I think for me, what I want people to know about me is that I'm interested in a lot of things. Acting's been obviously one of the primary passions people have seen, but I've also got a few other tricks up my sleeve. I dabble a bit in music. Yeah, people will see me soon. Small stages, Grammys, those kind of things.
Oscars.
Yeah, Oscars.
All of the above. Small stages. No big deal. Yeah.
Yeah, that's me in a nutshell, man. And
In a nutshell.
Ambitious, creative.
Love that.
I love it.
Bongani?
Hi. Well, they call me Theo Bongani Ndyalvane.
Yeah.
I'm also an actor, amongst other things. Just like him, you know. We dabble. We do a little bit of this and that, you know, passionate about the craft, but also passionate about, you know, our humanity, our country, our continent, you know. Yeah.
Love that.
Yeah.
Gorgeous. Rosemary.
Hi, I'm Rosemary Ndomtini Zimu, and same. I'm kidding.
I said don't give me those kind of answers, man.
Yep.
Come on.
No, Rosemary is number one God-fearing. She's an actress. She's a songwriter. Released some music a long time ago.
2018.
Please. But also, yeah, I dabble everywhere, you know.
Yeah.
A bit of creative directing. I can also do some hair. Call me. And makeup, you know. Everything, really.
So I'm sitting with the multi-talented.
Yeah. We try.
A little bit, right? So I'm going to open it up in this manner, right? So doctors are there to save our lives. Lawyers are there to get us out of trouble. When it comes to you being an actor, what do you think your role is? Bongani, I'll start with you.
Okay, since it's Kalangame. Well, let's put it this way. I think it was Nina Simone who said it is an artist's duty to capture and present the times in which we live, right? So I feel like it's our duty as artists, as creatives, to capture the time. For example, if you watch anything from the 70s, now you feel like you know the 70s, but you've never been there, right? Because we've captured that on camera. Like you're able to watch a movie and see the style in which they're dressed, the music and everything else, right? And of course now, because of, fortunately, movies and TV shows, you're able to see how people behaved then and how they spoke then, right? Whether it be the 50s, the 60s, the 70s. We're kind of like the same template, you know. We're showing people of who we are right now for this generation and other generations, so that someone in America can look at South Africa and be like, oh, that's what South Africa is like, and vice versa, We watch American television and we see, oh, that's what they do. Okay, okay. And then, some of the stuff we take, we call each other some names that, they call themselves, that type of thing. It's just a cultural capture, in a, so to speak.
I love how he's like,
Let's move.
it's your turn.
You're right.
What did he say?
No, for me, I think, yeah, it's definitely that. Like a large part of what we do is to hold a mirror to the world, and to show the world, yo, this is what's happening right now. Sometimes we hide it in fiction, like when you're doing like narratives like Avatar and these science fiction kind of things. It's still a human story being told. It's like, I think my interpretation of Avatar is like the story of kind of colonization of like North America, kind of. But yeah, it's just kind of the dress of human stories, man, and just being like a diary entry. And you express it so well in terms of like the preservation of culture. We're dripping, I'm dripping today, I'm hip hop,
No Crocs.
No Crocs.
No
You know what I'm saying? Every day you gotta level up. Yeah. But yeah, it's that, and I think all of that influences the rest of the world and teaches people how to behave, when to behave, socializations. There's many kind of behavioral traits that I think we convey through our art medium that then become culture. Like, I don't know if you know, the diamonds are best friend, the thing on the ring. It's all was like a media campaign that like, now you can't get married without that. That's just to show the power of what we do.
Sure.
So it's a massive kind of influence of culture and a mirror.
Yeah,
A mirror to ourselves
Yeah.
as well.
Actors
Yeah,
are
yeah,
vessels. We are there to tell stories that are written by storytellers. So a scriptwriter will get an actor and use them as a vessel to tell what they have put on paper. Just to add on what they were saying.
Just to add on what they were
Yeah,
saying.
yeah.
And I guess that's a huge responsibility, right? So I want you to tell the viewers what the mechanisms are to get you in character. What steps do you take to say, all right, I've received my script, I need to get into character. What do you do?
Do we have time?
Do we have time? Do we have time?
I'd say it's a lot like boxing, in the sense that the regiment is kind of similar, but depending on who you're fighting, you're going to have to make major adjustments, at times. So different pieces require different things. The way I'd approach a rom-com versus like a biopic, which is like based off a real person that either is alive or dead or whatever, but there's people connected to that person that know them and can tell you, yo, this is on, this is off, versus fiction. Each case by case one has a different thing, but the fundamental is just really understanding the text and the intention very clearly and trying to convey that.
And I mean, like I said, if we have time. I'm not talking about us right now. Like if an actor is given time with the script, you will see it. You will feel it. You'll see it on screen too, because then you've been given time to get to know your character.
Yeah.
If maybe I'm supposed to be a warrior, I do not go to training as Rosemary. I go as my character because I need to know how she would move, how she would think, why she would even do the next move. Yes, there's a choreographer, but for me to be this character, I need to do everything as her or him or they.
Or they.
I like that. Just to piggyback on what they both saying, I feel like, kind of like how you said with like boxes, it doesn't start when you get the script.
Yep.
It starts way, way before. That's why you get to training. You go to school if you go to school, and then you have mentors, and then you study. So you get yourself ready so that when the opportunity comes, and then now, it's like, if you take Floyd, he's fighting GGG, for example, Floyd Mayweather, he's not just going to start training when they say, okay, the fight is on.
Yeah.
So now train, He's been training, he's been getting himself ready. So that when that time comes, now it's like, okay, now we just go full on this particular one. We zoom in on this one. Let's study who we're fighting and stuff.
I love that. It's like when opportunity meets preparation.
Exactly.
Right. But now I want to move the conversation to really
Before we do-
empathizing.
Sorry.
Sure.
Sorry to cut you off.
No
I was going to say, to your point of time, I wanted to ask you guys, especially since, you know,
Dun, 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 dun.
since you guys, you know, because we're having this conversation with a friend of mine about the differences between the South African industry and, you know, the US. Time being like a very big factor, because over there you get a lot of time to prepare.
Yeah.
Whenever you get a script, you know, if you're gonna shoot a movie or if you're gonna shoot a television show, you have time. And then, you know, of course, whenever you get into it, that at least you've had time to prepare. Do you guys feel like, especially here in Mzansi, do you have enough time?
I think.
Can we? Sorry.
Yeah.
You are way ahead
My
of the
bad.
conversation.
My bad.
So we are definitely getting it.
Yeah.
We are definitely getting it.
Okay, cool.
We are building.
Okay.
Right? We are
Yes, ma'am.
building. I
Yes,
want to
ma'am.
know more about how you prep for your characters. And we're going to get into the South African landscape versus the rest of the world. It's coming. We're together, Bongani? Stunning.
Sigunye.
All right. So now I want to speak about empathizing with your character. With you, especially Rosemary, your character in Savage Beauty is a bit of an interesting one, right? And sometimes one might call you a villain depending on which side you're on, right? But I want you to take me through how you're able to look at your character and just empathize with who they are.
Well, first of all, I read, when I read my script before even booking the show,
Yeah.
I was like, oh my gosh, this girl is psycho.
She crazy.
Then I had to be like, Rose, Boppa, you can never judge your characters.
Yeah.
Right? And I think when I booked the show, that's when I was like, okay, cool. So how am I going to now move on without thinking of my first reaction of her, which was all the judgment and all, who would do this? Or, oh, the way she moves is crazy. But I was able to really empathize with her. Firstly, I think I had to find our similarities. She's very family orientated. She would die for her family. Kill. Let me not say
That's
die.
the word we're looking for.
She would murder for her family, and I think I would do the same thing.
Yeah.
And then we had to look at things like her motivation to do the things that she's doing besides the family. And I kind of got her. I understood her. I think I had to really go and tap into the side that nobody really wants to tap into,
Yeah.
honestly, with themselves. I had to go look in the mirror and be like, Rose, you know you've got a bit of her in you, right?
Yeah.
Like, people are gonna hate her, but there is something in you that people also really don't like.
Yeah.
Or don't want to mess with.
Yeah.
There is that we will never show people.
100%.
But we need to show ourselves in order for us to really get to the space that we need to get to for our characters sometimes.
Sure.
But she was a very difficult one, if I have to say. And I like that you brought her first before talking about any other character, because she was the hardest. I think with her, I used a lot of method acting, which kind of took Rose out of it completely, and now just became her for the whole 3 months that I was shooting. And that was easy to do, but not easy to come out of. So easy to get into, but so hard to come out of. And now when I had to come out of it, I was like, okay, I've seen the similarities, and that's what made me become her, but now how do I not become her?
Sure.
How do I now get back to empathizing with Rosemary?
Yeah.
You know? But it was difficult. It was very difficult, but I am so grateful for it. And I think that it took me to a place where I thought I was empathizing very well with other characters that I've played, until I played her and I was like, aha, that's that other level that these artists that I look up to have spoken about. That's that next level of empathy,
Sure.
you know?
We're definitely going to touch on getting out of character and maybe mixing it with your time question. Okay. But let's speak to the hero,
Ndzeni.
Ushar. How do you empathize with Ushar?
It's really hard to. I mean, he's like a mythological kind of phenomenon character. So there's all this marvel to like how big he is. And then you look at yourself and you're like, I'm like just acting, dog. Like this guy's he's a king. He's done some pretty incredible things, you know. And even as a warrior on the battlefield, and for me, I've been in a few fights, but I ain't taken so.
Not on that level.
You know what I mean? So like, you know, it's hard to to empathize with the things that have made him great, but I think his weaknesses and the kind of more vulnerable sides, you know, because we see a lot of rejection in the story from his father and like, you know, just the people around him, you know, besides his mom, they aren't really extremely supportive. I mean, there's a few figures here and there, but the general energy around him most of the time is just like that of an outsider.
Sure.
So I think for me, that's where I kind of draw the parallels and begin finding the similarities. But in terms of like his high peaks, hey man, you just gotta trust the page, trust the direction, bit of your imagination as well. But yeah, it's hard to comfortably say, yo, I fill those shoes, because it's like, it's big, that thing, you know.
Just a quick question though. When you got the job, like when you actually got, because I understand, you know, you audition, you're hoping for it, but when you got it, when did it set in that, oh, I have all of this responsibility? And
oh, that was after
did that
we
feel?
shot. When people started being like, yo, no. Like now, actually, after the ad even. But during the thing, I didn't want to really put my mind there, because I was scared of the paralysis of like, you know, knowing how big the task is, bro. Like, when you know it's the exam for Oxford, which either if I fail here, I must go back to UNISA. If I pass, maybe I can say American visa. It felt like that moment, you know.
The pressure was getting wet.
Yeah, no. So I don't want to dwell on that. And I felt like, you know, if there was moments where I'm out of line or doing things not correctly, I trusted the team to be able to step up and be like, hey, dog, pull it back. I don't think shaggers. You know what I'm saying? And they did in those moments where they did feel those things. So for me, it's just a lot about having to trust, you know, the team. But we had a very capable team around us.
Nice,
So.
man.
Yeah.
Nice, bro.
So now we've empathized with our characters. And you mentioned something very important, right? It takes time to get into character. But now you must get out of the character. What's that process like?
Well, sure. Okay, for Uzinhle, the process was 3-month long process where I had to go and debrief with my my therapist. I had to go and debrief and actually go see my family, because I stayed away from my family for the months that I was shooting, because I wanted to be Uzinhle like
So badly.
to the core.
Yeah.
Where, like, she doesn't have parents, so I'm gonna kind of, you know, but also. At first, I didn't notice I was doing it until I did it, where my mom even called and was like, girl, I haven't seen you in 3 weeks. What's going on? But so it was that deep. So I went to see my family. I went to my therapist. I went to my acting coach, who was just like, I don't know if I can help you. She's the one that got me the therapist, because she's like, damn, girl, this is a lie. I don't know if I can help you on my own, you know. And she also just said, go see your family, go get back to your roots, get back to
your norms,
get back to the person that is so loved by the family that you can become her so like easily. You know, get back to Rosemary, and don't be confused with her values. Don't be confused with what makes her happy. Don't be confused with. Also, Zinhle was a mean girl, and Rosemary's not. So it was like, don't get lost in that sauce, you know. But my therapist really helped me. I was with her for 3 months, and she made me realize that there were some traumas that I held onto while I was Zinhle as Rosemary. And that's what we now needed to dig into and let go of. And then I felt like, okay, cool. She's coming back. But then, besides Zinhle, the other girls, I could just, after they call cut, I'm back to being Rose. You know, it is what it is. And sometimes it's a skill to be able to switch from character to yourself very quickly. I think it was Samuel L. Jackson who said it in his masterclass. He was like, he was acting with someone, and this lady, she had to, it was an emotional scene, right? And sometimes here at home, when it's emotional scenes, we just want to be really emotional and be in the emotion until they call cut. But she was telling jokes seconds before they said action. And then they said action, and she got into the emotions and then out of the cut.
Sure.
You know, so sometimes it can be easy, but sometimes it can't.
Yeah. And for you, Bongani, how's the process of getting out of character?
So it's a two-part for me.
Yeah.
One is when you're playing a villain, for example, right? And they're fun. They can be very fun.
It looks fun.
Once,
Really looks fun.
exactly. But once you get to what you were talking about, you know, when you can empathize with them, you know, like sit down and don't judge them, and then try to find stuff that you can actually relate to as you, right? The deep, dark, you know, the deep, dark stuff that you don't want to show on a daily basis,
Yep.
and then play with it and have fun, right? But what I do is, prior to going into that, I usually take time and find things, music, TV shows, movies that are not of my norm, right? Outside of me, that I can watch, and that's going to be for that character. Create a playlist for that character, right? So that when I'm done with the character, I can now let go of that and come back to my playlist so that I don't confuse the two. Because it can be easy to confuse the two, you know, and when you do, then it can be harder to get out, to come out of. But, you know, when you actually find your own rhythm, because I feel like different people deal with it differently. Because for some it takes longer, for some it doesn't, and for some, you know, we've seen some cases where people go to the edge, you know, and they're not able to come back. Yeah, but yeah, it's an interesting thing to do when you do it.
Lemu for
Lem.
for roses. Look, for Rosemary, it's a therapist, it's an acting coach. For Bongani, it's change of playlist. What does it mean?
For me, I don't really have anything special. Like,
Yeah.
I'm very boring when it comes to that stuff.
I've got nothing.
I just
It's
do,
easy to go in and out.
Yeah, for me, I think that was part of our training, and I think during my training years, or just after, that's when the whole Heath Ledger thing happened, where he did the Joker, was stuck, and you know. So for me, I've never really romanticized that idea because of the potential dangers of, like, you know, falling in love with a character that's not good for your life. You know, I mean, it can happen. So for me, I've always been in and out. I try even between cut, like. But it depends on the environment, you know, as well. There's certain environments which also require you to kind of remain immersed. But I think as soon as in the makeup chair taking it off, it's gone. Even in between scenes, like I'm similar to that story you're telling. I'll crack jokes between my close-up of my crying scene.
Yeah.
Like, don't relax.
Relax, bro. Shut up and relax, bro.
No, when we do our thing, you know what I mean? Because for me, I think my philosophy with it is like, it goes back to that Laurence Olivier story with Dustin Hoffman of Dear Boy, You Should Try Acting. Where I'm like, the only thing I should try convince is the frame. Anything other than that, it's mainly for me to help me do that. So for me, as long as I've convinced the VT guys and the people looking at me and the monitors, the rest of the crew, I'm going to try and impress you. It's fine. So for me, it's that, and it's worked for me. Yeah.
I'm so glad you mentioned the environment, because this is where, Bongani, you get to shine. We're going to speak about time. We're going to speak about time. We mentioned the processes of getting out of character, but I want us to speak about the South African landscape when it comes to the industry. You mentioned that it took you 3 months to get out of character. Do we have ample time to get out of character into our new character, completely different environment? Is South Africa built to allow the South African actor to adapt?
Let's start with getting in character. They're going to answer that question. Yes. Do you have enough time?
Do you have enough time?
I think what we do is a unique sport in South Africa because of the requirements of how much content we must do, how many pages a day. And I've had the privilege of working on kind of both landscapes, so the local-based one and the stuff that kind of goes for export. And obviously on international stuff, they've got budgets, you're shooting 3 pages a day, you're relaxed.
Yeah.
South African stuff, you're averaging between maybe 10 to 20 pages a day, which is obviously like you're there, you're working. But each has its benefits. Like what I found with like when I shot Tembisa, for example, I was shooting Tembisa on a show called Troy at the same time. The Troy was international 3 pages a day. Tembisa was like 15 to 20 a day. When I'm getting on 3 pages a day, I know other people's lines. I'm like, this is this is what we're doing. You know what I mean? So there are perks to what we do. We get to learn lines very quickly. We become a very kind of adaptable, fast-paced kind of working actor. But obviously, if we had the privilege of a week to prepare for just a single scene, there's a potential for it to elevate or to not. But there's also sometimes a magic in those quick moments. You know, some of the best ideas and the best movies were thought now. I put the camera there. Actually, that looks cool. Why don't you? Like in Gladiator, the guy kicked the helmet, he broke his toe. Like, it wasn't real. That scream is iconic. It's part of history. What is Lord of the Rings? Anyways, one of those kind of stories. But yeah, so it's got its pros and cons. It really depends what you're trying to say and what you're trying to achieve in the work. If you're really trying to make a concentrated art piece, obviously time is the privilege. But if you're trying to learn a lot of skills and be a very versatile, adaptable actor, then I'd say the volume ways, there's a lot to learn in that.
In a short space of time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Are you
looking at me?
No, I was just gonna throw a question.
Yeah.
Do you think then, because you don't have time, you know, to prepare for anything, and also you're doing like 20 pages a day, do you think that kind of compromises the quality?
Not necessarily.
No?
I think, man, other people, it's like construction or anything. The skill of the execution is still based off the practitioner, you know. You could give me 6 months to build a house and an architect a week. The architect's house probably will be better than mine. So my point is, the time thing, yes, it can definitely be a tool that can better prepare us, but we also understand that the chances of our entire industry transforming overnight is impossible. So given our current circumstances and what we have, you have to make the best with what we got.
Correct.
You know what I'm saying?
But I mean, if you had a choice between the two, which one would you choose? And also, I mean, I keep going back to the quality of the production itself. Like, as an actor, do you not need the time to actually really prepare for this, to get the character before you actually can go and be like,
it would depend.
Yo, this is me.
It would depend how close the character is to me and how, like, well I understand the context and the story. Like, if it's a story, obviously, about somebody happening in, like, Nigeria, I've never been there, I don't know what's happening.
Yeah.
But if it's like a hometown vibe,
You get it quicker.
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So,
You got
it. Next door.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It depends how close it is to me.
Okay.
But for me, both work, man. I think some of the best work, like I said, is like in the improv moments. It's like that whose line is it anyway? Last minute, there's a magic that happens.
Yeah.
But I think obviously overly emphasizing on that and relying on that is not going to make the best product. But I think it's still a really great tool.
Yeah. Lemo, you touched on transformation, right? And I want to get into that conversation. As actors, you do a lot to get into character. You do a lot to grow your craft. Do you think you're getting the necessary support in this country?
I mean, I'll start with me. I think so. I think we're moving in that direction more and more. And I'm speaking from a point of privilege, knowing that I just came off a really big show, which had a massive investment. But I can confidently say that in that experience, it was a local show where they gave us time. We got time to gym. We had trainers beforehand. We had like martial arts classes beforehand. Like everything that you see in these Hollywood trailers is preparation things. And it wasn't like the week before. It was months of like, yo, this is going to happen. We need you to, you know. So the wheels are definitely turning in that direction, and I think the results of what the show has achieved are signifying that it is a lucrative thing business-wise. Because I mean, we got confirmed for season 2, and I don't think they'd have done it if they were making a loss. You know what I mean? So thank you. So there is definitely a potential of that growth in the industry. I think we just all need to advocate for it and fight for it, but we've done it once, we can do it more.
Yeah. I love that you spoke about you're speaking from a point of privilege where you were given the resources to be able to execute what we actually see on screen. But is that always the case, Rosemary?
It's not. Firstly, I agree with what Ulim was saying. We are getting there. If we look at our previous thespians, how they started in the black and white screens, how the government was treating them compared to us right now, there's a big change. There's a big difference. And it looks like we're going in the right direction. Very slowly, but we'll get there. I mean, damn, you're so privileged.
I am.
I have literally been given a script today. And it was like, yeah, no, we're not, we're not saying it's yours yet. And then they'll call me tomorrow and say, okay, it's yours. The next day you're starting. And it's a character I have no idea about. First of all, she's married. I ain't married. She's from wherever she's from. I'm not from there. And like you said, it's easier when it's something that is next door. And you can just grab quickly and go and act. But now when it's not, it does affect the quality. Because now I don't know my character. I don't have time to do research on my character. And now I need to jump in and be this person, and I'm going to be this person for 4 months. And now there's going to be a crazy inconsistency. Because if I don't know this character, the directors are also still trying to get to know her too. So now if Lemo directs this one, she'll be this way, and then you come and direct the next episode and she's completely different. You know what I'm saying? So time, I'm just going back to the time thing, is so important. And for me personally, I would prefer time. I prefer to be given time, especially for characters that I don't know anything about. But yeah, we are going in the right direction. We are supported.
Fully?
Not fully. Not fully. Not fully.
Yeah, definitely not fully. But for someone who grew up with people who have been in the industry for a very long time, like I grew up with the cast of Mzinez and Tsipa, right? And they were people from next door, but how they were treated back then, how they were not supported back then, I see a huge difference right now. And it's so beautiful to see. And it's so beautiful to witness and be a part of it right now. Because then I'm thinking, if my child, whenever I give birth, says that they also want to be in the industry, I don't think I'll be as hard on them as the way our parents were on us. My dad was part of, the government or whatever, and he would hear me say I want to become an actress and be like, but we as the government are not supporting you. So why would you want to go do that? You are actually choosing poverty. But right now, he's like, look at you. Look at you, girl.
End of the month. Look
at you. It's like, he's like, you know what I'm saying? He's like, look at you. You have not come to me to be like, things are very bad in a very long time. And it's because he's also now got an ear on the inside where they're also now talking about what we are fighting for. We're not speaking to deaf ears. They can hear us. They can see that there needs to be a difference. And they're moving at a slow pace, but it's coming.
I love that. I love that we're progressing. But Bongani, I'm posing this question to you. Compare the international stage to the South African stage when it comes to the resources that are provided. Is it getting worse?
I think these guys might be able to speak to that better because they know both landscapes. I was gonna go back to the time thing.
Element,
So for me, it was interesting because when I came to do one of the South African shows. I don't know if we are allowed to mention names or not. But, so we'll just
mention, we'll beat them.
Yeah, we'll just talk. It was interesting in a way that I'm not used to doing 20 pages a day, right? So I come from a culture where you do 3 pages a day, like you mentioned. You have all the time in the world to prepare to get the character before you actually go and do the show, right? And I know so many people that would pass on projects because they don't get the character, but you need the time to know whether you're gonna get the character or not. But anyways, putting that beside. So when I came in, I was given this, and I felt because it had to be done immediately. Like I arrived on Thursday in South Africa and I'm shooting on Monday, type of deal, right? And literally like jet lagged and everything, which is not a big deal. But for me, I felt like the 20 pages a day, it's a marathon. It's a skill that you learn. It's a skill that you own. And it's beautiful to an extent. But I feel like if you keep doing that with everyone all the time, then you compromise in quality. I felt like my quality was completely compromised because even on the show, you know, just watching it, it's like there's a before and after. Right? The first few weeks, it's like, you can tell this boy is bumbling. He doesn't know what he's doing.
Yeah.
Right? Because you got 20 pages, you only used to 3 pages.
Sure.
You have to remember everything. You're trying to find the character. You're trying to, you know.
You're learning as you go.
Right. And there's so many steps and elements that you need to be working on because you're shooting multiple episodes in one day. We're not used to that. We're used to just shooting one episode, right?
Sure.
And then, of course, now you're going back and forth. So you have to do the tracking of the character. You have to do the tracking of the voice, the emotions, and all of that stuff. But when do you have time to do that? So if you don't have time to do that, you make missteps, which then compromises the quality of your work. Right? You're on set, you're thinking about your lines as opposed to be thinking about the character and just being in the moment and just living. It's only when I kind of found my foot that I felt like, oh, okay, now I see where we're going.
Yeah.
And then now it's like, okay, you can give me 20 pages, I can learn them because now I actually kind of get the character. But also that's only because, you know, different training, different, you know, different landscapes and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But I love how you spoke about it being a quality that a skill that you hone as time goes. But are there enough opportunities for the South African actor, actress to then practice that skill? Because now we have times where you've got a gig and you're shooting for so many months and then it ends and there's dead silence for 6 months, maybe a year, maybe 2.
2 years.
It happens.
It happens.
Oh, it happens.
Like a 5-year.
It happens. Because you're speaking about being able to practice, but if you haven't had anything,
Then you must
in
write
6
your
months,
own
in-
plays, do
you go.
something.
Sure.
What?
Yeah.
You want to sit at home for 2 years? Your
but are
passion
there
will
enough
die.
opportunities? But that's the conversation we're having.
I think it's a tricky one in the sense that like it kind of lends itself to the open up the industry thing.
Yeah.
And the reason why that becomes a complicated conversation is because from a business perspective, if I hire Rosemary, for example, to be my lead on a show, and she does an exceptional job, she's professional, she's always late, whatever. The new kids, we've been in this industry for a while, we've seen many people come into the game with great intentions, but don't have the discipline, for example. You're excited, you went out drinking the night before,
shooting tomorrow.
voice, you don't have a voice, Mara, you're there. You know what I'm saying? So, but I know Rosemary respects her work. She sleeps on time, she arrives on time, she's gonna deliver. Now, yeah, you're dope, but hey, I don't know your character, I know roles, you know what I'm saying?
Who do I trust?
Who I trust.
Yeah, it's tricky. It's tricky, man. I don't think there's like a one kind of answer to it. It's like a nuanced conversation. You know?
But I mean, if you're also asking, are there opportunities like for people to be training and stuff? There's a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, there's actor spaces. You can go for 3 months training there. If you're not on a set, go
Then at
shop
least
in the
do
skill.
something.
Go
Yeah.
shop in it because
Yeah.
I think also some of our fears, well, my fear, let me say, was if I don't go and get that 4-year, 3-year degree, will I be really considered a thespian? Will I even get a job? Will I be good enough for the producer that sees me and is like, I want to trust her? Will they trust me without that degree? You know? And I mean, for some of us who could not go to school and could not actually go for those 4 years, I then invested in getting trainers, making sure I have like 3 or 4 different trainers because they can all teach you different things, different methods of acting, different, you know, skills and stuff. So there's a lot of opportunities when it comes to that. Where if you're sitting at home, what should you be doing?
Yeah.
I mean, there's master classes. There's a lot of things that you can be doing. And then that also helps you create your own thing. If you're going to be sitting at home for 2 years, create for yourself.
Yeah, and not wait for the opportunity
Don't wait for the opportunity
to come through.
Create for yourself.
We have the most opportunity now.
Actually,
Yeah.
I was about to say, more than ever, man. Before, if you had an idea and a channel don't vibe with you, it's done. Now,
All you could
can
do is
shoot.
knock on doors.
There's a friend of mine who shot and directed a film, shot literally all on an iPhone, bro. And this was like
A phone?
Yeah, you were laughing earlier. It was probably like iPhone 8 days. Like, you know what I'm saying? Before iPhones, it went to Cannes, it went to TIFF, it traveled the world, man. And it had a really strong story and it was motivated. It was all from the perspective of phones. You know how when vlogging was a thing?
Yeah.
So it was like campers gone out on a weekend vlogging, and it was like kind of, that was the lens they used. But the point is, content, man, and opportunity, I don't think we live in a more fertile environment, man. If you were to rewind the clock 20 years ago, you'll
It's a
count
different
your
story.
blessings today. Netflix wasn't there, Amazon wasn't there, Disney, Showmax. And Showmax is just a derivative of MultiChoice. In MultiChoice already, there's options.
more.
Before it was SABC,
1, 2, 3,
Mnet,
ETV.
ETV, finish.
You're lucky we had Mnet.
Story,
You know what I'm
but
saying?
if they don't
Yeah.
trust you, they're not
Yeah.
signing
But now
it.
there's everything. Even ETV's got the EVODs, which like
Yeah,
branch
which is
out
a streaming
to so
site
many-
as
yeah,
well.
streaming things. So
Yeah.
there's I think we live in a time of the most opportunity, and we just need to educate ourselves with the best ways to really maximize from everything around us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, mine is always going to be different. But I was going to say,
Excuse me?
I know, right?
Well,
I'm not necessarily speaking for Umzansi, but
Yeah.
I think this is something that you can do anywhere, including here.
Yeah.
Because back Eloneni, what we do is during the downtime, we have started groups as friends to start reading scripts, to start performing, but amongst ourselves. Because here's the thing, being an actor, for the most part, people think when you have a TV show or a movie, that's when you become an actor. Acting is acting. You acting in theater, you acting at home, you acting anywhere. Acting is acting, right? And then now, acting on a TV show is a perk, right? Acting on a movie is a perk, right? It's kind of like a cherry on top.
Yeah.
Now you're getting paid to do it.
Yep.
But you can be acting anywhere. So me, being an actor, if I call myself an actor, I don't care if Netflix is not coming to my door or MultiChoice or anybody is coming to my door. If me, I'm a thespian and I'm like, Rosemary, what are you doing tomorrow? What are you doing? Guys, how about 1 day a week? Let's read scripts. Okay, this week we're reading with Shakespeare. Next week we're reading with Zakes Mda. Let's read that and let's perform. We're performing. So you are in the zone, in the creative space, you're learning. And guess what? It's kind of like any kind of muscle. You know, the more you train, the better
The
you
better it
get.
becomes.
And that's what you need.
I'm gonna call you. We're gonna go read.
Oh,
I
so
love
Tim,
that. I love
Oh,
that.
I
We're
see,
starting a
man.
group here already.
So it's a push-up.
Okay, shut. I'll make the tea. I'll make the tea.
Yeah, let's go.
Yeah,
Let's go.
because you
I
don't
love
need
that.
that TV show to be doing that. You can be doing that amongst yourselves.
Yeah.
Right.
Facts.
But also coming back to the, sorry. Can I
Go
ask
ahead.
a question?
Go ahead.
Okay, cool.
It's a conversation.
I was gonna say, coming back to the thing about South Africans being supported in the industry, I'm just wondering if maybe, I'm just wondering if maybe you guys, and this is not in a bad way or throwing shade or anything, are coming from a place of opportunity, right? Because you have these opportunities that you have. So the industry looks different to you than it does to a person who's sitting at
100%.
home who only gets one job once a year. Not for a lack of trying, but because they're not getting the opportunities.
Yeah, for me, I can speak on that confidently and say I'm completely speaking from privilege. I'm an
said it.
actor who for years has
Yeah.
been turning worked out. I'm like, nah, I don't want to do that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, but and I acknowledge that because a lot of my friends are actors were in the space, and not all of them are blessed with opportunities I've been. So for me, from where I'm sitting, it's definitely that. I've even out of the gate from when I graduated, like I think I spent about 3 months not working, and from there I've been working. That's why when you said, "Oh, I'm here too," I was like, "What?" But then I remember, damn, it is a reality for other people.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely. But the cool thing about like what I could say to that is like the nice thing about our sports, our craft is we're not like sports people in a sense that your golden years aren't tied to your age.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Especially as
I
a
don't
man.
need to blow in my 20s, I don't need to blow in my 30s. I can literally, it can happen at 40.
Yeah.
And from there, it hits a level which surpasses the one of the people that have been winning since they were 20. You know what I mean? I mean, you look at
As a
people
guy.
like Dr. John. No, even for ladies. Even for ladies. Viola's golden years of
Yeah,
when you say she's
100%.
made
How
Good
many
bang.
example.
Violas out there, though?
Good
No,
example.
but we're speaking
Okay.
about
About golden
you know what I
years.
mean? Yeah,
It's different.
it's an exceptional,
Yeah.
exceptional,
Okay,
but you know what I'm saying.
I hear you, though. I hear you.
So, in any point, it's possible for it to happen.
Yeah.
And my advice to people: there's a really amazing actor, South African guy, Dion Lotz, who for the longest time, Afrikaans guy, but you'll probably know him if you
Yeah.
Google him. For the longest time, this guy worked like in hospitality and just like regular, but he had the dream of being an actor. At 50, he pursued it, and he's got a career. That's all he
Yeah.
does now. He doesn't, you know
That's
what I
where he
mean?
gets
his
It's
money.
national work, whatever. So the
Yeah.
point is like, it can happen at any point. Another great example was Vuyo Dabula as well.
Yes.
Auditioned for years. There's many of his peers that were like, oh, this guy's was always been talented, but he was never. And then once the ball, you know, you just need that,
Yeah.
you know, opportunity to really showcase yourself. But I think ours is not limited to. I don't have to be 25. It can happen at any point. So for me, I've always, you know, felt that pressure and try to be as professional at all times and deliver. So yeah, it's privileged, but with that
With discipline.
professionalism and discipline.
100%. So you three have been in the industry for quite a while, and I'm sure there's a lot of changes that have happened since you began until now. So I'd like you to take us through what some of those changes are, from the beginning of your career up to date.
Wow, I think I started in 2015. What was the difference? Oh, one big thing that's really changed is this colorism thing for me. We're seeing a lot of dark-skinned people on our screens, and I am loving it. I am absolutely loving it. And not just seeing the dark, they are leading.
Yeah.
They are our number ones on the course
Amen.
sheet.
Let's go.
I think that's something for me
Yeah.
that I was always very confused about back then, because I was never light enough, but I was also never dark enough. So I was never dark enough to play the roles of only the dark-skinned girls, but I was also never light enough to play a lead.
The missing middle.
And it was sad, and I had severe acne, so they were just like, "Ugh, what do we do with her?" But it's changed, and I think that's one thing that I am
Grateful
loving.
for. Yeah.
So grateful for.
Refreshing. Love that. For you, Bongani?
Okay. Guys, I don't want
laugh
to seem
child.
like I'm the party pooper. But
You don't want to scream like that?
Actually worse.
no. I can't really speak much on that because I haven't been on this side of the pond in a long time. So for me, I don't really understand South African industry much. But I will say, I was talking to a now friend, which is crazy to even think about that. He's a legend to call him a friend, but he's a friend of mine. And he was talking about, we're talking about how the South African industry needs to improve and be more like, you know, the Hollywood side when it comes to certain aspects. And he was talking about how now he's a legend. He's done everything from theater, movies, TV shows, and everything, right? And there is not a single person in South Africa who doesn't know him.
Are you going to tell us the name?
Yeah, no, I'm not saying any names, but I will say he was talking about how they wanted him for something and they still want him to audition. We're not just talking about the money aspect of it, which is horrendous when it comes to our legends. We're talking about someone who's done everything, whose resume is impeccable.
Yeah.
That's more like saying, Morgan Freeman, I want you to come and audition for me. And I'm like, how? How does that happen? And also, how do you still treat our legends the way that we do, Mzansi guys? I think we need to do better in there.
So
Maybe
you saying
a lot of things have changed, and I'm very hopeful with you, we're changing. And the industry is changing, and things are getting better. But we need to get better, even more better, when it comes to treating especially our legends, man. We need to respect them more.
Yeah.
We need to give them their flowers, because they deserve them. They've put in the work.
starts with us. We need to give them the flowers, and then the people that we expect to be giving them the flowers will see it.
Yeah.
It really starts with us.
True, but I'm saying...
We can't just expect them to do something that they don't even know.
But I'm saying the industry, though, needs to give them their
I
props.
fully get that.
Yeah.
Yeah. But she still says it starts
We
with us.
need to do it. We
Yeah.
are the industry, aren't we?
I
We
agree.
are part of it.
Are we?
I agree.
Are we, though?
Okay, let me cap this
We
tension.
need to be the industry.
Oh, no. We
can't
give
just
them
be
the props. We
in
give
the
them the props. But what I'm
industry.
saying is, though...
We
You are
should be the
leader.
industry.
Yeah.
Yeah, but what I'm saying, though, is the people that give the opportunities are the
Yeah.
ones that need to really, start treating them with respect.
Fully.
But yes, I agree with you. We all do. But
Yeah.
the industry needs to recognize them and treat them better.
Yeah.
Okay. For you, Lemo?
The changes. I think it's also, I guess, coming again from a point of privilege in a sense that I'm part of I've been part of the last two projects, because the project before Shaga was Blood Psalms, where they were trying to putting budget, we're doing, the thing. So I've kind of been involved in both of them. So for me, that's the change, man. We're being trusted creatively with the money we need to execute our ideas.
I like that.
And it's like a very comforting place to be in as a young filmmaker, knowing that, hey, when I grow up and decide one day to write a script, maybe I can get the budget. I don't need to now write it all in one location.
Yeah.
Lots of arguments. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I can free my creative mind and set it on the moon with whatever, because technology is also rapidly improving every day. Visual effects kind of things are a lot more possible. So
Yeah.
I think that's really going to place us in a good place. But I think we are, taking steps in that direction.
We're getting there.
Yeah.
Slowly but surely.
Yeah.
That's definitely.
All right. Hollywood, Bollywood, Nollywood. Are we getting a South African version of these institutions?
We don't
What are you
need
going to
it.
call it?
Sollywood.
Sallywood.
Sollywood. No.
Are we there? Are we?
No, I think we need to create our own vibe, man. Like, look at piano. It's not even...
You can't
Yeah,
compare
it was
it
never
to
on the
it's
map.
its own thing.
Yeah.
Though, So I think even creatively, that's where I feel we need to move, where we'll really start impacting the world greatly, is when we start creating our own languages and styles and just being different and unique and true to ourselves. The world is extremely curious about Africa and where we are, what's happening on a daily
Especially right
basis.
now.
They don't
Yeah.
even know we're sitting
Yeah.
having conversations being
Right now.
recorded on camera. Some people think we're in huts, so
Riding lions.
yeah, so our responsibility is to change all these misconceptions and really educate people in a creatively clear way. And I think we're in that position now to be able to do that.
Yeah. Bongani?
So I just want to throw out a disclaimer real quick. The reason why I'm critical of us is because I am us, right? I love us and I want us to do better. And as a man, I always try to look inward. How can I be better? Before I can tell other people, you need to do better, you need to do better. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, yeah. All of this stuff that I've been saying, it wasn't to throw shade, just in case someone
Are
out there
you
is wondering,
sure?
why is this guy so negative?
Are you sure?
No. It was to improve. I'm very hopeful, man. I'm very excited. And being in California and seeing what South Africa is doing and how the world is responding to what South Africa is doing, it's incredible.
Yeah.
It's incredible. Savage beauty, everything, Aboshaka, the stuff that's coming to the world that we tell now ourselves.
Authentically.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Authentic.
The opportunities are now becoming endless because now we are creating, we're telling our own stories as opposed to having other people telling our stories.
Yeah.
Because they don't tell them the way that we would and they don't really have our perspective.
Yeah.
But now because of our perspective, the world is like, hang on a second. South Africa, they speak like that?
Yeah.
Wait, they have that? And I remember my friends, before I even saw it, all my American friends were telling me about Blood and Water. It's like, yo, you gotta see this show. It's South Africa. It's dope.
Yeah.
I was like,
Don't you
really?
feel like,
Yeah.
I know, right?
I should be the one telling you.
Thank you. That's how I felt. But, that was before I even knew there was something called Blood and Water. And
Sure.
all my American friends were like, yo,
Knew.
you gotta see this, man. It's
Yeah.
dope.
Aren't you from South Africa?
Right? And then, of
Yeah.
course, I saw it. I was like, oh, yeah, this is tight.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
we're producing so much tight stuff, and yet, and yes, sorry, not yet. our industry can grow and will grow bigger and better as long as we tell our stories our own way, using our voices.
Yeah.
Exactly, when
Yeah.
a bestie. I mean, just adding on to what they're saying, we need to stick to our lane as South Africans, do our thing our way, because if we're going to be comparing ourselves to Bollywood and Nollywood and Hollywood and wanting to be a bit like everybody, we're going to get lost. We're going to get so lost and nobody's going to know what we're trying to do.
Sure.
So I think what we're doing right now
We keep doing
is
it.
better that.
So consensus is asifuni iwood.
Sidinga ingodo thina.
Come on, man.
Asidingi iwood. Could I maybe just with your bass back
Yeah,
on?
no, I had to. Hey, sorry, take back for a second.
Sabuzwa baba.
We don't want wood, we want metal.
Asifood, yeah. Want to be
Want gold.
strong.
Yeah.
One gold.
Yeah.
One metal. All right. All right, guys, that was a fantastic conversation. Thank you so much for joining us. But before we head on out of here, what are some of your parting words for aspiring young actors and actresses out there?
Yo, Lishevile Nagao
Yeah.
Yep.
The rose among the thorns.
Oh, there's so much to say, but we don't have time. One thing I really do want to say to aspiring actors, firstly, we've all been there. We've all been at the bottom, and the bottom is not somewhere you need to feel like if you're there, nothing's ever going to happen. Good things are coming. You will see the light. You're not even in the dark when you're at the bottom. There is some light there. You just need to find it, right? And also create your own things. Like he said, we're living. What a time to be alive!
Yes.
What a time to be alive. Create your own things that you want to see, things that you want to be a part of, things that you want to lead, honey. If you want to play a lead in something, create it, write it, give it to somebody, trust somebody with it, you know, and make it happen. But also, just never give up.
Yeah.
Never give up. I came from severe acne where they used to say, oh, her acting is so amazing, but her skin. And never did I feel like this is something I'm going to give up on. I still went to the auditions with lumps on my face. I still went to doctors who told me different things. But my time came, my skin cleared, and God said, okay, let's go. You are prepared now. You know, so prepare also. Prepare while you wait.
Oh, love that. Bongani?
For me, it's going to be a couple of things. Number one, an actor acts. Create work for yourself. If you don't have any work, look at scripts. You know, find scripts. You can even do Shakespeare ngesizulu. In your own language. Perform those, record those so you can see them. You don't even have to publish them. But if you want to publish them, put them on TikTok and somewhere else and see what people say. If they like it, they like it. If they don't, you keep on moving, you keep on building, you keep on training, right? And also, people's lanes are different. Some people are going to come out of university and just get work. And some people are going to start and not get anything. But if that's your passion, that's your calling, keep going until your time comes. And timing is everything. Just keep on working on yourself. That's the most important thing I can ever leave anyone with. Don't work on everything else about other people and stuff. Work on yourself. And once you're ready, things will come to you.
Sure.
Young actors, go to UNISA. But my point is, like, the area that we live in is like so diverse where careers, there's very few people that are one-dimensional and successful at that. So even actors that you'll follow who have had a career for 10 years, you'll find that on weekends he's a casting director. So the point is, upskill yourself in other things that can keep you survived and plugged into the industry. For many years, I used to camera operate, I used to edit, I used to do things, and in between gigs, I'm helping with castings, I'm editing things, I'm like, I was always involved and plugged into the industry because of all the extra skills that I'd gained. So don't limit your skill set to just acting. You will be hungry. Diversify. You will be hungry, but not as hungry.
But it also
and then
helps
push
with
through, yeah. No, it definitely does help. And other people discover themselves in other things. And like, I mean, life is a journey, man. You always walk into a room imagining a particular experience, get into the room, and then it's something else. So also be open to that and the adaptation of life and the ability to just always mold yourself, but keep the dream, and one day it will happen.
Oh, I'm feeling so warm and fuzzy. From Half a Corner Couch, Season 2, Episode 7, I am Noni Kumalo. Over and out.
I shot it right, I never see